Today I'm changing the front hub oil seals. So I've jacked the vehicle up with an axle stand under the base plates of the springs in between the U-bolts. The front wheels off the ground so that it can rotate them. The reason I'm going to do that is these oil filled hubs. So you remove the oil filler plug and then rotate the hub round, and it's a bit tricky to get the oil out, especially in the wind. Now the capacity of the hubs is 190 millilitres. It's not a great deal of capacity. I just want to get this hubcap off, and it's going to go into the oil. This one I'm actually changing this hubcap over. I've got a fresh one for it, a new one. Okay, so having a look inside, there is a bit of oil inside there, which is indicative that the oil seal needs changing. So next, I'm just going to remove this split pin. Now the wheels are off the ground, it probably would have been a good idea to loosen these driving member bolts before jacking it up. I didn't want to, inspire the oil to leak out. So, plenty of rag. Anyway, so let's get this split pin out. Make a start on that right now. Of course. Okay, obviously it would have been better to remove this wheel. It's just easier to turn it round like this. I mean, when I say easier, it's not easy, it's just less messy, because the oil goes all over the tyre. Most of it went in the dish. It's only 190 millilitres. Anyway, so the split pin here dissolved prematurely, and we just need to undo and loosen this. Just need to undo this castle nut. There's our oil seal. So, the easiest way is just to pull the hub off and take the oil seal out, put the hub back on with a new gasket. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've got a 5/16 Whitworth on there, and I really want to be undoing that. Now there's a torque rating for this, which is something like 12 to 15 foot-pound. Anyway, so I'm just gonna loosen those. So this is what it looks like with the driving member bolts removed, which are all down there. Lots of flaked paint everywhere, which we'll get around to cleaning off and repainting in the summer, although this is the summer. I mean, it would be feasible to pick that out with a pick tool, but this is just, I've got the gasket, I've got the parts, so I'm going to do it this way. Next though, I'm going to just get a crankshaft splitter just to pull that member off. It's tapered, so it won't just come off. It needs to be pulled. Okay, and here's what that crankshaft splitter tool looks like set up on this hub, ready to pull it off, and probably just going to do it by hand, which I am. Probably want to put a glove on there. So this is for oil filled hubs, grease filled hubs might be different. I haven't actually got any experience with the grease filled hubs, and this is for oil filled hubs. So I'm just pulling off. Yeah, pulling off. No, it's pulling off that drive-in member. It's just a bit tight there. Oh, look at that, it's too see it moving down there. Probably gone by now. Can you see a gap forming? Anyway, all will become apparent in just a moment. Just carry on turning up my head. There she comes. And in there we should see the hob locking washer tap down. There we go. I'll put that in there. Got some extra oil coming down. Oops. And this is the seal that we want to change. I'll just pull that off. Wow, I'll pull it off a bit harder than I thought. Flipping thing. And so here is the new oil seal, and incidentally it goes on with this rough rubber face facing outwards. So there's the difference between the worn out and the new. And here's a new driving member gasket, and I've got a new hubcap as well. So let's just pop this on there then. Could really maybe soak it with oil, but I don't think it's going to make a lot of difference at this stage. Now just probably rotate it so that the grooves and the splines line up. This will be a 10 spline. Right, and now I've got to put the driving member back on, which means we've got to peel off that old gasket. Ready for the new one, which we'll smear both sides with grease. So there's the new gasket, greased both sides and put on the driving member, this is the better way to do it. And now we'll put that on over the yeah. Okay, so forget what I said earlier, because these are actually, the driving member bolts are 28 foot-pound, so I'm going to put the torque wrench out, I'm going to do those. So there's a retaining washer, then the slotted nut. I don't over torque with a slotted nut because it's got a retaining pin, so you just have to get it quite tight and still be able to get your split pin in, so you might have to back it off the torque a bit. But it's got a retaining split pin to stop it falling out. Obviously it don't want to be finger tight, but it don't want to be like 30 foot-pound, don't need to be that high I don't think. Anyway, so I've just got to find a new split pin, and then we can pop on the hubcap, and then we can start to fill the hub with 190 millilitres of oil, which is the same oil that you would put in the gearbox. It's EP90. Next time I'll take the wheel off. It does make it easier to turn it. Alright, so here's the contraption I've made for filling the hub with 190 millilitres of fuel. But what I'm actually going to do is fill it to just like overflowing. Anyway, so I've got an old funnel there, and it's used a shoelace tie at the back of the tyre, just on the thick old tread. And then it's basically a drinking straw taped via a small adapter, which is made out of a big pen lid. So it goes through all that, and it just goes down into the oil-filled hub here. So, you know, grease-filled hubs are different. So I'll put the little hub cap on, and we're ready to fill this little thing up. So I'm going to decant some oil and then start pouring it in. The reservoir is filled up with about, I don't know, 60 millilitres there. It goes down the straw and it starts to overflow. Okay, I'll just have to keep an eye on that. It's not actually overflowing, it's just quite a tight hole there. It comes blows back a bit. I don't know how it happens. Maybe if I used a smaller straw size. Yeah, well, either way, it's a very slow process. Just very small hole. It's a very small quantity of oil going in there, but quicker if I walked off and had a cup of tea, it would probably start spilling. Oops. Alright, and that's virtually it, apart from residual. Where it overflowed, you get a residual drip. But I mean, to be honest, I've done a lot of jobs on this driveway, from brakes to swapping out the engine, you know, and this one, this is like completely this is completely like the most messy job of them all. This is even more messy than taking an engine out and rebuilding it and putting it back in again, you know. It's unbelievable.